So basically, everybody is asking themselves the same question right now. Will this movie destroy our childhood completely? And I'm happy to say the answer to that question is no. This movie was a lot better than I thought it would be. Actually, I'm going to go as far as to say this movie actually could be as good as the original.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
Yeah, that was really, really hard to say with a straight face. Look, I have no problem with remakes because, as far as I'm concerned, I can always go back and rewatch the original. Remaking this doesn't take anything away from me, but at the same time, it just felt so unnecessary. So, when I heard that it was coming to Disney Plus, honestly, I expected it to be pretty bad. So, did it live up to my expectations? Yes. Yes, it did. So, part of what made the original so good was Kevin McAllister. So, obviously, he was a budding sociopath. Like, seriously, when this kid grows up, everybody's heard the theory that he turns into Jigsaw. And if you haven't actually seen it already, there's this thing on YouTube, a clip that Macaulay Culkin did where he's grown up and he's Kevin McAllister, and it is hilarious. It really had me laughing hard, so I highly recommend that you go look it up on YouTube. But basically, Kevin McAllister was charming, he was funny. Even though he was obviously a bit of a serial killer in training, he was charming. He was a kid that audiences wanted to watch, but this kid, honestly, look, he isn't a bad actor, but he just doesn't have the same star quality as Macaulay Culkin. And look, I don't like to be too harsh with child actors because they're children, I get that, but at the same time, this kid had to carry a lot of the movie and he just didn't really pull it off, in my opinion. So, one thing that really annoyed me about this movie was how many times it had callbacks to the original. And it just didn't feel like it was done in a respectful way. It felt like it was just trying to bank on those feelings of nostalgia because it was all it had, really. Like with the scene at the airport, and the score was so similar to the original movie, and there was so many times that it just felt like it was trying to be like the original movie instead of its own thing. But that's not to say there wasn't any moments that I enjoyed in this movie. To be honest, there was a scene when the boy first finds out that the burglars are in his house and he mistakenly thinks that they actually want to sell him, not his doll. And that was really funny, I admit. I laughed pretty hard at that. And the other moment that I really enjoyed was Buzz McAllister. So Buzz McAllister is in this movie. So for those of you that don't know, Buzz is the older brother of Kevin McAllister. So we see him in this movie, he's all grown up, he's become a cop, and honestly, I think he was the best part of this movie, that scene with him in it. And he's talking about Kevin and how Kevin plays a joke on him every year, saying that he's been left at home alone. And I would love to see a movie with a grown-up Macaulay Culkin, sort of like a Home Alone, but like a die-hard version of Home Alone, where he has to protect his kid from burglars, and he does an adult grown-up Jigsaw version of all the booby traps. That would be so good. But anyway, I doubt we're going to get that happening, but I can dream. Hands down, the biggest problem that I had with this movie was the script. Honestly, just because this is a kid's movie doesn't mean it has to be a bad script. If there was good writing behind it, it would have been so much better. But the dialogue was so cheesy and awkward. For example, they were talking in hashtags, like saying hashtag something. And also there was this meta self-aware moment where they're talking about remakes and how cheesy they are and how they never stand up to the original. and they're trying to poke fun at themselves, but it just came off as really cringy. And also the bad guys. So that was my other main concern with this movie. There was just no stakes in it because the bad guys weren't bad people. So with the Wet Bandits in the original movie, they were cheesy and we laughed at them. But at the same time, you wouldn't want to meet them at nighttime down a dark alley because they were actual criminals. And they were willing to actually hurt Kevin, but these criminals are just parents who are down on their luck, and honestly, you end up sympathizing with them and feeling really bad with everything that they go through because honestly, it's a misunderstanding and the kid didn't actually steal their heirloom, but basically they think that this rich kid stole this doll, which is worth like $200,000, and they really need that money to save their house, which they're basically going to have to sell soon. And they have kids of their own, and it's the holiday season, and they're going through a lot, and then this kid sets them on fire and puts them through all this torture. And you get it, he's just trying to defend himself, but at the same time, we see it through the eyes, so much of the movie through the eyes of the criminals, and they're not criminals, they're just people that are just really down on their luck, and you just really feel sorry for them. So when the classic booby trap scene hits, you can't really enjoy it the same way because you just feel too bad for these poor people. So yeah, honestly, this movie just was awful in my opinion. If you disagree, let me know in the comments down below what you thought of it. I would really like to know your opinion. So honestly, I think I would give this a 3 out of 10. So if you like this review and if you want to see more from me, please subscribe, comment, like, all of that stuff. Thanks, guys.